Spring has sprung in Paris and the real estate market is positively blooming. We haven't done one of these in a while, so let's start with a quick recap of what was a particularly bleak 2024, which despite the buzz around Olympic Games, which are considered by all accounts extremely successful, that was not enough to offset the general world economic climate, inflation, rising interest rates, uncertainty. Although those interest rates did soften and dampen towards the end of the year. So firstly, a few numbers for all of you data nuts out there. I love this stuff. Feel free to talk to me about it at any time. According to the Parisian Chamber of Notaires, so they hold all the official records with all the transactions, there were only 25,000 apartment sales in Paris last year, 2024. 24,940 to be precise, which was down 10% from 2023 and a whopping 30% from 2022. So you can really see the decline in volumes. Q4 of 2024, though, did start to show some signs of stabilization, which was fantastic. We saw interest rates coming down into the threes for the first time in a while for residents and even some non-resident borrowers. So that was a great sign. And we also saw the price drop slow down with only a minus 0.5% negative over the last quarter of 2024. So really starting to see some stabilization. So on to 2025. Here we are, armed with softened but stabilized prices, interest rates, which are once again attractive. After the extended Parisian winter break, which lasts until about the end of February, vive la France, we have suddenly seen the spring market in Paris. The green shoots are appearing both outside and in the market. So whilst the official notary data has a 2 to 3 month lag before it's published in general, there are some really great data sources that we also use, such as Mails Agents, who own one of the biggest websites, SeLoger, and they have just published their indexes for January and February. They do it every month, and for the first time, we have seen just a little bit of price growth. So 0.2% in January, 0.2% in February. Prices, they were down 3% year over year. This was dragged down by the most central arrondissement, as you can see here, whilst average prices, they dipped under the 9,500 euro per meter squared mark for the first time in a while. Of course, this is really pulled down a little bit by those outer arrondissements, I think 18th, 19th, 20th in particular. This again on the back of minus 6.8% overall in Paris in 2023. So basically a 10% drop in 2 years. A little bit of context here. So the Parisian real estate market is still up 19.2% over the last 10 years. So you can really see how much impact these last 2 years had and how comparatively strong that dip has been. And we really saw it at the end there. Even the best apartments aren't selling in that 24 hours. More and more negotiations, longer sale time, bigger negotiations. Really the market started to bottom out. So while official notary data generally has a 2 to 3 month time lag between the recording and the publishing, so this has also actually been confirmed with what we're seeing in the market. And for the first time this spring 2024, since the beginning of March, we are seeing properties sell fast again. Some great properties for searches which have sold in 24, 48 hours, which although it's frustrating when you're looking for properties, it's great to see in terms of a new dynamic for the market and kind of this renewed optimism in the market itself. So that's really good. And on the flip side, we're still having massive negotiations. We just negotiated down a property listed at 1,090,000 down to 1,030,000 for a client. So this is, a really interesting time as well. We're seeing a little bit more of that speed, but still seeing some of that negotiation time. How long that'll last, I don't know, but this is all pretty optimistic. I guess the question is why? I think at this point, obviously, people have got used to these new norms of prices, whether it's within the housing market or outside. And sellers, I think they've calmed down with it from their expectations of the giddy heights of 2022. Certainly in Paris, where you could borrow money at kind of 0 0.0 to 1%, really exceptional times. People have kind of recognized this 4% interest rate environment as, I mean, historically still fabulous, but as the kind of new normal. So we're getting this balance between buyers feeling a little bit more energized and sellers being a bit more realistic. So what is going to happen in 2025? No one really knows, right? But my personal opinion is that the global economy is still pretty fragile and that this may be a good thing for Parisian real estate. It's a prime defensive asset class, right? So that's a good thing, I think, when it comes to investing as an asset class. And I think barring any major world dramas, we should continue to see this very gentle recovery coming back. I do not see any triggers for huge growth in the market, but I'm hoping, and this is what I'm thinking, is that the market will have bottomed out last year, starting to get a little bit of that recovery now. Both sellers and buyers have really adapted to this kind of new norm of what the market looks like, which historically, given the context of these interest rates, is still pretty phenomenal. And I hope that there will be these transaction volumes coming back up, a little bit more impetus, a little bit more energy into the market, and we will see this at least stabilization continue to hold. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you think about this, and if you have any questions or comments, or even a little project in seedling stage, I'm always available to talk about that. I love doing that, talking with about that stuff one-on-one. So please shoot me a message. You can find me on all the social platforms. And until then, merci beaucoup. À bientôt. Au revoir.